Hey guys, Kev here, and I am back from vacation. So I had a great week off. It was amazing. We went out to Glacier National Park, flew out there with a toddler, which was interesting, but I gotta tell you, that kid is an absolute fucking trooper. She handled 4 flights, a ton of long car rides, a boat trip, and some other stuff in between. And she handled it like a champ. I mean, I couldn't have been happier. And I told my kid every night how proud I was of her. She has no idea what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to say it. Anyway, it was a blast. My parents were there, so it was me, the wife, my daughter, and my parents, and we had a nice big house in Montana right outside Glacier. And it was amazing. The last day, my parents watched our daughter, and my wife and I were able to go for like a real hike. It was like a 6-mile hike up to a place called Avalanche Lake and back, and then we had to walk to our car, which we parked like a mile away because parking there sucks. There's one thing I will tell you about Glacier National Park, and I've heard it's the same thing with Yellowstone. It sucks when it comes to hanging out there, because you go there and you expect to be in nature, right? You expect it. You're just gonna go into this national park. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna park up and look at cool stuff everywhere, and it's not really like that. They make you get these stupid reservations that we kind of knew about but didn't know about. We were like, okay, we need this reservation car pass or whatever. So my wife got one like months before, 6 months before or something. So for that week, we had a park pass for the car. And then we get there and they're like, well, wait, you actually need a reservation for certain areas of the park. It's stupid. It makes sense because they have so many people coming in, they have to limit the number of vehicles. It's not really the people, it's the vehicles, because the parking is very limited. So it's an interesting thing. If you guys, if you want, I'm going to talk about it here, and then I'll put this video up, and if anybody just on the internet wants to learn about Glacier, they can. It's not really going to be a knife video or anything. So, but yeah, they do these reservation passes. So you have to go to recreation.gov. And that's where you can order these. And there's, I think, 4. So there's the Going to the Sun Road, which is like the main one, right? Like that gets you in at the West Glacier entrance or any entrance. And then you can take this main road. It's the main artery through Glacier. Takes you up and through the mountains, and it's freaking gorgeous. But you need this pass to do it. And they spread them out, so they'll sell them like months in advance, and then they'll sell them at 8 a.m. on each morning. You can order it for like the following day. So like if it's Monday, you can order it, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you have the pass. It's a 3-day Going to the Sun pass. So the guy's like, yeah, you can just at 8 a.m. jump on there and try to get it before everybody gobbles them up, because they're all gone for today or whatever is what he said. So like the first day we got there, we were ready to go. It was like a 10 or 11 a.m. We get to the park, we're like, here's our pass. And they're like, nope, you need this other thing. And we were like, oh man. Now, the trick is that pass is from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So after 3 p.m., you can just get in there. You can go anywhere you want after 3 p.m. And out there in Montana in the summer, it's light out till 10 p.m. easy. So that sounds late. You're like, oh, 3 p.m. I'm only going to have a couple hours in there. No, I mean, you can hang out there for another 7 hours, basically. So you could get your whole day in after that if you don't want to deal with these passes, because it is kind of annoying. But anyway, what I did was I hopped onto this recreation.gov at like 5 o'clock that day, 5 p.m. And I'm just looking, and they had them available. It was like 522 tickets available for tomorrow. So it was for the next day, and then 2 more days after that, so 3 days. So I ordered that bitch right away, and then we got in. This was on a Sunday, so we got in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We had our pass already for those 3 days. So the next day we just went back, and we went to the Going to the Sun. We went down the whole thing, And, you know, it's a good 2.5 hour drive from beginning to end. My dad was not having it. He didn't want to drive all the way to the end to, I think it's called St. Mary's Lake or whatever. So we ended up getting all the way to Rising Sun, I think it was, which is like 3/4 of the way. And then we did a cool hike at, I think it was Rising to this, no, it was not Rising Sun, it was like Sun Point or something. It's right before Rising Sun. And that takes you to these falls. I think it was called the Bering Falls. And it was only like 0.6 miles of a hike, but it's very narrow. And we had a toddler. You got to keep in mind we have a 2-year-old, and we can't bring a stroller on these trails. So, you know, I'm walking with her, holding her hand because we're right on the edge of a cliff, basically. I'm carrying her. My wife was pretty scared about it, and I was like, I just want to, like, do stuff. You know, I don't want to be stuck in a car the whole time. So I carried her, and, you know, we made it, and it took, you know, an hour, I think, for us to go both ways, 0.6 miles, and it was like, you know, what's that, 1.2 miles? Took us an hour. But we got to see some cool stuff, and, you know, of course my kid was safe the whole time. I just had to baby her a little more for that. And, yeah, so that was really fun, and we got to see everything along the way. We tried to stop at Logan's Pass on the way back, which is where the Highline Trail is, the Hidden Lake Trail, which turned out to be closed at this time for bears, something to do with bears. They're all hanging out there or something. I don't know. The Berenstein Bears are having a town meeting down there, so we couldn't go there anyway. But I wanted to stop there and just check out Logan's Pass. It was a really cool area. Maybe do like a mile of the Highline Trail before it gets to this really crazy cliff walk where you're like right above the Going to the Sun Road. It's really cool. And we didn't get to do any of that because it was full. They just say parking full, and you're like, great. And on the way back, we tried to stop there, and we were able to get in there, but there was nowhere to park, you know. There was like one spot opened up the 5 minutes we were in there, and there was 30 cars piling in to get that one spot. They need to do something about the parking. I know they're doing this reservation thing, but they need to just build some more parking. I know that sounds stupid, and they're trying to preserve as much area as they can, but they have more land out there that they need to create more parking places out of. Or they need to really dial in a shuttle system, because that's what we were talking about. We were like, why don't they just have a shuttle system? They have these like red buses that drive around, they do tours, but I'm pretty sure they don't stop for periods of time. I'm pretty sure you can't get off and get back on. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. I didn't really do a ton of research, but I didn't see shuttles. And if they just had a shuttle system where you could stop at the, you know, maybe they have a big parking lot somewhere a mile from the entrance, right? And you can fit as many cars as you want there, right? And then they had shuttles, just endless amounts of shuttles in and out of that park, stopping at every location. It'd be perfect. You could just stop, park, get on a shuttle, go to the next stop. If you want to get out right away at, I think it's Apgar Village, you get out at Apgar Village, and then you wait for the next shuttle to come along that has enough seats for you guys, and you keep going. And then you can get to the next spot, which is Lake McDonald, right? And then you can go to the next spot, which I think is Trail of the Cedars. And like, it would just be nice if you could do that instead of having to find parking. It was just brutal. Every time we went in there, we had, you know, I was watching YouTube videos ahead of time, so I knew about some of this stuff, and I'm like, we have to pick like 3 things to do at a time. And if we get to one place and there's no parking, we just go to the next thing on the list. And we had to do that a lot, and it really meant that we had to keep driving. So we'd get to where we wanted to go, no parking, keep driving, get to where we want to go, no parking. We had to go to the end of the list, finally find parking, and then on the way back, try to hit the other ones. And it's a really frustrating system. But anyway, I jumped on at like 5 p.m. and I was able to get this pass for the next day. So I would recommend you just check that site. I mean, just hit recreation.gov, check it, you know. I would say check it like in the middle of the day, 5 o'clock, end of the day, and then check it at 8 a.m. like they say to do. And then starting July 1st, which we were there the week before, starting July 1st, they have passes you have to get for Two Medicine, which is another area all the way on the other side, the east side of the park. And then there's a north area, I think. I can't remember what it's called. But the northern part of the park, they have a pass for that as well, starting July 1st. And then I think it was starting June 26th. It was like the week we were there. You had to have a pass for the western side of the park, which I think they call North Fork. It's like the North Fork area because it's North Fork of the Flathead River or something like that. And so they call it that. And that was the area up to where we went to this place called Bowman Lake. And then they have another one called Kintla Lake. Very, very cool, but it's, you know, you got to go around the park to get there. You got to go through a really cool little place called Pole Bridge. That's where we went the first day. My wife and I, we landed, and my daughter, we landed. We got the rental car, and we still had like 4 hours until the Airbnb check-in. So we just started driving, and I drove through Columbia Falls, which is where we were staying, and I just kept going, and I ended up on this road that turned into a dirt road, and I was like, screw it, I'm just going to keep driving this Camry through freaking dirt roads and shit. And we ended up at like an entrance to the park, and they were like, we can't get in till 3 because you don't have this stupid pass, you know, because we're like, here's our weekly pass. And they're like, oh, well, you need this till 3. And we're like, so turn around, and we go back, and then I turned right to go farther north, and we went up to this place called Pole Bridge because they're supposed to have this crazy cool bakery there. And we ended up eating at this little place called Home Bottom Ranch, which is really good. It was just a little bar, and they had just like smash burgers and chicken sandwiches and shit. And we had that for lunch, which was delicious. And my kid met a little dog there named Yuki, a little white dog. I think it was like a German Spitz, I think they're called. And she like fell in love with this dog, wouldn't leave it alone, to the point where I was like, the dog just wants to chill, like, you know. And so then we kept going, we went up to this bakery, and it is really nice. It had good food, bakery stuff, you know, cookies and these like pastries and shit. And then they had a nice little sand pit with a jungle gym type thing, which was really cool because my kid is 2. And she's like, sandpit, sweet, you know, because we're going to a national park. This is not toddlers aren't excited about the view. You know what I mean? So it was nice that she had a spot to chill and kind of, you know, do her thing and play in the sand while we ate some stuff. And then we were just burnt out. We'd been up since 3:30 a.m. Our time, which is, you know, Eastern. And now it was like, I don't know what time it was, probably like 4 p.m. Mountain Time. So it's like 6 p.m. here. We've been up since 3:30 a.m. And we were just cooked. So we're like, let's get back to the damn Airbnb. So we get to the Airbnb, and it's, you know, it was like an hour drive. We met up with my parents there, and they have a pool. There's a pool in the neighborhood where we had the house, and it was like literally 2 doors down, 2 houses down, there's a pool, and it was amazing. It was like 75-degree water. The sun's coming down. I mean, dude, this pool was the shit. We were there every day. I love swimming. I love pools, so I was there every single day with my kid, and we loved it. So that was awesome. They had a hot tub too, which, you know, we didn't really kick the hot tub too much, but I did go in there a little bit at first because it was pretty cool the first 2 days. And then it heated up at the end of the week. But we had beautiful weather. I mean, it was blue skies with a little bit of clouds every day. I mean, it was wonderful. And the temperature just went from like 75, you know, 77, it was 80. And then the end of the week, it was like 82, 85, something like that. So it was just really consistently nice. And my wife was concerned because she had been looking up the weather the week before. And she's like, man, it says it's going to rain all week there. And we were like, damn. Like, it's gonna rain all week. And it was just this thing we kept talking about. We got to the airport in Kalispell, which is in the valley where Glacier is, and the lady at the counter of the rental car place, we were like, yeah, the weather says it's gonna rain all week, and it looks beautiful here. And we're like, I don't know. She's like, yeah, sometimes the weather can be different here and in where you're staying, Columbia Falls. They're like 15 minutes apart, but it's like the mountains can play tricks. We were like, okay. And so the first night, my wife is like, Kev, I was looking at the wrong place. She was looking at Columbia Falls, Maine. She had Columbia Falls, Maine on her phone the whole time. That's what we were freaking out about. We were in Montana. And so she put the right one in, and it's like sunny, 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 75, 75, 80, 85. It's like, yes. So that was nice. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So that was the first day. The second day, we tried to go in, and that's when they were like, "No, you need this thing." And we're like, "All right." So that day, we went across to the Horseshoe Dam or something like that. I can't remember the damn name of it now. Something Horse Dam. And it's really cool. And then we drove past it, and then we tried to go further in to, like, you know, check out some small trails. You can go like another 50 miles down this reservoir thing. But everything was closed. Like, you couldn't hike on anything, you couldn't do anything. So we ended up at this boat launch at this camping site. And it was right on this lake. It was freaking beautiful view of the mountains. And my kid was like just going in the water. So I'm going in the water, like, you know, halfway, because I can just roll my pants up, and she's in there, not swimming, but like, you know, floating. And it's freezing cold water. But it was so relaxing. So we did that. And then I think that was really all we did the first day. We ate and like did all that good stuff. And then the second day we did the whole going to the sun thing and went all the way through the mountains, which is gorgeous. And we did that little bit of a hike. And then the third day was when we went to, I believe was when we went to Apgar Village, which is a cool little village right on Lake McDonald. You get great views there. And then we went up the Trail of the Cedars, which is freaking gorgeous. You got to check out Trail of the Cedars. It's very easy. So it's like 1 mile around or something, and you can get your stroller on there. You know, there's a break off to go up to Avalanche Lake, but you don't have to do that. We did that. And then like the third day or whatever, maybe it was the fourth day at this point, we went to Two Medicine, which is another lake on the eastern side of the park. So you have to take a highway around, and it takes like an hour and a half to get there, 2 hours. And we took a boat tour around that lake, and you can get off on the other side, and they do an optional guided hike. Again, we had a toddler, so we just didn't do it. And we came back, and then I think we just drove home. Oh, we stopped at a falls. It was called Running Eagle Falls. You know, it's interesting, the stuff you see when you YouTube search places. And, you know, I'm not going to edit this with all these pictures, so, you know, a lot of people aren't going to really want to watch this for that, but you watch a lot of YouTube videos about where to go, what to check out, and people are like, go here, and, you know, a lot of it's like 20-mile hikes and shit that are like impossible for people with families, really, or just, you know, people who aren't like just super in shape. And or it's just like these big name things, like go to, you know, this place and that place that everybody's heard of a million times. Well, I had never been told about Running Eagle Falls, and this is right outside of Two Medicine. So like you go to Two Medicine Lake, it's like 5 minutes before you get to the entrance, and you can take a wheelchair to the falls, right? You can go a little further on foot to where you couldn't do it on a wheelchair, but it's wheelchair accessible basically. And then they have a little view spot for the people who can't go any further. But we kept going, and there's like a little bridge and stuff, and you can get right up to these falls. And it was probably the coolest thing we saw the whole trip, except for maybe being, you know, 8,000 feet up on Going to the Sun Road, where you could stop and see the crazy view. And they have this peak called Heaven's Peak that looks freaking gorgeous. Other than that, this waterfall was absolutely stunning. This time of year, it looked like the water, so there was like a wall of rock, right? And then the water came out of like the middle of it and had this beautiful waterfall. And we were thinking in the summer, or when there's when the water's high, that it probably shoots over the top and through the middle, like it shoots from 2 locations. Would be amazing. But anyway, Running Eagle Falls, man, I would definitely check that out. It's a long drive to get to 2 Medicine, but if you're going there anyway, it's literally like a 5-minute walk through a little bit of brush and stuff, but it's all on a sidewalk, and you see this absolutely gorgeous waterfall. So we did that, and then I don't even remember what we did the next day. The next day we went up to Polebridge again, this time with my parents. We went to that bakery, and then we kept going and we went up to Bowman Lake. And that's just another gorgeous view on the mountains and another lake, which is really cool. We went swimming. My mom and I went in the water. My kid wouldn't. For some reason, she wouldn't go in this time. I think it was too cold. And we're like freezing in the water. And there's like some spots that are warm, some that aren't. It's weird. But I just wanted to say that I swam in the Glacier lakes or whatever. So we did it. It was awesome. And we learned some stuff like glacier. You could tell when a lake is fed by glaciers because it has this like see-through, almost teal color to it. And when a lake is not fed by glacier, it's just like kind of a more dark blue color. So it's pretty obvious to tell like Lake McDonald is fed by glaciers because it just has this gorgeous clear view and everything. And they were saying there's only like 25 glaciers left. And I'm sure they're relatively small, but yeah, there was like 100 and something glaciers when they founded the park, like 100 years ago or something, and now it's down. 3/4 of those are gone. It's crazy. So before too long, there's not gonna be any. And then I guess those waters will all turn kind of to that bluish color, which is interesting. And then the last day, my wife and I did that Avalanche Lake hike, which was you go through Trail of the Cedars and then you go up and you do Avalanche Lake, which was brutal because it was 3 miles each way, and the way there is a lot of incline. I think it's like 600 feet of incline, and it was just kind of brutal on the legs, but we got there. And then it's a gorgeous view. There's some waterfalls out in the distance, and the lake is really nice. I wish I had brought my swim stuff, but I got talked out of it before we left, and then I got up there and I was like, damn it. And then the hike back was pretty mild, very mild, but we got really tired at the end. Once we got to the bottom, we were like, oh, thank God. And then we're like, oh, we gotta walk another mile because parking sucks there. And we couldn't park in the main area. And then you keep going, and there's a couple of like, little spots outlets where people can park. You can fit like 4 cars, right? And the first one's taken, the second one's all filled up. The third one, we finally got a spot, but we had to walk a mile back each way. So that was brutal. But it was, well worth it. And then we flew back, which was yesterday. And it was a great trip. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, I guess, and let you guys know that's where I was for the last week. I had videos going up all week, so you guys didn't miss anything, but I didn't film shit the whole week. I haven't filmed a single video since over a week ago, and I'm filming one right now, so it felt good to take a little break. It really did. So, yeah. Anyway, I got a bunch of shit to unbox. I got a whole stack of stuff at my house. And then I haven't even gone, because it's the weekend, I haven't been able to go to the P.O. box to see what's there. I don't know how much is there. So should be some unboxings coming and some content. We'll see how that goes. I just want to ease back into it. I don't want to go crazy. But yeah, so this will just be, I guess, a Shootin' the Shiz. Or I'll just name it my trip to Glacier or something like that. But I'm not putting in pictures or anything. I don't know. You guys can look up Glacier. But I just want to talk about it for a second. If anybody's going or plans to go, there's some stuff. The biggest thing is there's car passes. So you just got to get the one for going to the sun. That's pretty much the main one. And then if you want to do any of the other areas, you just got to look and make sure you don't need one for that. And then you need the pass for the actual park. That's $35 for a week or whatever. So you can get that well in advance for whatever week you need. And then these other ones are 3-day or 1 day. It depends on the area, and they're free basically. It's $2, and it's just for processing. You know, it's for the website people or whatever for processing. So you're not like spending more money. It's just annoying that you have to have one. And then make sure you take a screenshot of it, because if you don't take a screenshot, you're not going to have any service in the park. So you're going to be like trying to pull up your email with the thing, or print it out if you have a printer at your Airbnb or hotel or wherever. But I just took screenshots and saved them as favorites, and then, you know, you just show it and you're good to go. But yeah, it's watch some videos on the reservation system, because it seems very complicated. It's not that complicated, but when you don't know and you're not there, it's just kind of weird. And you're like, I have a parking reservation pass. They need to name them differently, you know, because they call it like a park reservation car pass. And it's like, okay, well, that's what you're saying I need, a reservation pass. That's what I have. And then they're like, no, that's for the park. Now you need one to get to certain areas. And it's like, okay. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. I love you guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble about this. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. Can't wait to interact with all you guys again. And love you. Peace.